everything will be on the floor today. You may need a pillow or something to put under your head. I'm just gonna use a yoga block because we have one here in the studio. But before we get to there, we are gonna come onto our bellies. So from the elbows here, we're gonna do some mobility work through the thoracic spine. So pulling the shoulder blades down and back, tucking the chin. We're not looking up. Or imagine someone is palming our face, tuck the chin back. We're gonna hold here and take a few big breaths in and out through the nose. With each breath out, trying to wedge further through the thoracic spine. 2 more breaths. Tucking the face further with each breath out. Awesome, we're gonna change the intent, so we're gonna move the elbows slightly forward to target a little bit higher up in the thoracic spine. We will do 4 breaths in this position, in through the nose, out through the nose. Shoulder blades down and back. Breath 3. Last one. Good, let's walk ourselves slowly out of that. We're gonna come into our side lying position. So grab your yoga block or your pillow, whatever you have handy. And the setup for this is shoulders, hips, and ankles should be all in one straight line. Knees are in front of the body. So we're gonna start actually with some scapula cars. So top arm is up. We're gonna trace a circle with the shoulder blade nice and slow. So shrugging up, pulling back, driving down, pushing forward. Push that bottom arm into the floor. We're gonna do 4 each direction. That's 3. Trying to only move through the shoulder blade. Arm stays straight. And reverse for the opposite direction. So rolling forwards. Good, we're gonna give the arm a rest for a second. We're gonna move on to the hips. So we have hip cars next. So we are tracing a circle with that knee. Oftentimes we wanna open our hips and roll. Make sure that your hips stay stacked. So top hip is right over the bottom hip at all times. If you wanna put your hand on your pelvis here to make sure it doesn't move, go for it. So flex the heel to the bum. Knee comes up towards the chest. You're then opening the hip up to the ceiling. We are internally rotating at the hip to send the heel back behind us. Do not twist the pelvis. That's rep 1. We have 2 each direction. Knee to chest. Open the knee up to the ceiling. Internally rotating at the hip to send the heel back. Excellent. Now we will reverse. Heel to bum. Take the foot straight back, hip extension. Then we're coming up and over. Slow and controlled. Last one. Make sure the heel is tucked tight. Excellent. While we're under a little bit of fatigue here, we're going to do single leg lifts. So that top leg is going to straighten. Hips are stacked. Point the toe directly in front. And we're gonna lift. So we're gonna do a set of 8. A little bit more of a strength demand this morning. Waking up the hips. 6, 7, and that's 8. Good. We're gonna move on to the spine from here. So check in, make sure we're still stacked. This one, we are gonna open the hand, twisting through the torso, watching our hand the whole time. So, top arm opens, watching that hand. The funnest spot back here where you can't move any further. I want you to take a big breath in and out through the nose. Try and melt more with the breath out. One more breath. Good, coming back to our starting position. We're gonna do 2 more of those with 2 breaths in between. Again, watching that hand, arm is straight. 2 breaths at your end range. And coming back. Good, we're gonna come to the lumbars now. So, forehead in forearms, knees under hips. We're gonna do our cat-cow from this position. So flexing and extending through the spine, the low spine. This should be the only spot moving. Breathe in on the way up. Breathe out on the way down. Awesome, we're gonna switch sides. So you're just gonna lie on the opposite side of which we were just lying on. Quick opportunity for a coffee break. So we're gonna start with our shoulder blades, but first make sure our setup is good. So our hips are stacked, our shoulders are stacked. Bottom fist is pushing into the ground, knees are pushing into the ground, and then we're gonna trace those circles with the shoulder blade. So shrug up, pull back, drive down, push forward. These ones are pretty hard to control if you're not used to them. Just do your best, keep thinking about your smooth circles. That's 3, we've got 1 more in this direction. Good, now we're reversing 4 the other way. Forwards tends to be harder. About that shoulder blade motion exclusively. It's moving over the ribs. Good, moving on to the hip cars. So, make sure we're stacked. Heel to bum, knee to chest. Open up towards the ceiling. Internally rotate to kick that heel straight back behind. Good, that's 1. On to rep 2, knee to chest, open up to the ceiling, isolating the rotation in that hip as we send the heel backwards. Good, now we reverse, so keep the heel pinched, straight back, hip extension, and then we're coming up and over. Oh, make sure the heel stays tucked, sometimes gets away from us, that's 1. Coming into rep 2, straight back, and up and over. Good, last bit is our strength, our hip abductions, so top leg is straight. Again, maybe keep your hand here to make sure we're not rolling open or closed, and we're gonna lift for 8. So 1, 2, 3. Breathe in on the way down, breathe out on the way up. Should be feeling it in the stability muscles, the small glutes, side of the bum. lost count. Isn't that 7? We'll say this is 8. Good. Awesome, you guys. That is all that I have for you today. Good job. So tune in on